God is good.
All the time.
And all the time.
God is good.
Amen. How would you like to be an authentic Christian? What does that sound like? Would you like to be someone who's considered consistent, Christ-like? I mean, what worst thing someone could say to you is, what, you're a hypocrite, right? That hurts. Nobody wants to be called a hypocrite. But if we want to be a genuine Christian, not be a hypocrite, be authentic. How about make a positive impact on the world around you, right? Everyone wants to make the world a better place. What is the cost? What is the cost to be an authentic Christian? It's to be more focused on character than being correct. I know it sounds simple and difficult at the same time. When it comes to relationships in particular, communication, dealing with people, what's the difference between an expert and someone that you might say is inept or inadequate or less than? What's the difference between an expert and someone who's not? Experts realize that they always have more to learn, that there's always room for growth. The day that you stop feeling like I can grow in any area is the day you begin to die in that area. And this is ultimately of importance when it comes to being Christians, right? The expert is never overconfident. But I want you today to be an expert Christian. I want you to excel in a particular area which I think is the defining, the fulcrum, the watershed, whatever you want to call it. This is what separates the boys from the men, so to say. This is what separates the real people from the posers. What I'm going to cover today begins with my conclusion to life's greatest mysteries. All of the problems, all of the difficulties, the things that trouble us most, I think my conclusion to that is that connections conquer chaos. Connections conquer chaos. Think of the beginning of the Bible. The Spirit of the Lord is hovering over the waters of the deep and everything is just in chaos. Think of all the Greek mythologies, right? The Greek gods allegedly, creating something out of the chaos. Think of every great plot line. There is no plot. I don't care what show you're watching. If there isn't some type of conflict and chaos, it's dull, it's boring. But what do we anticipate? Why do we stay? What is it that hooks us? That the hero is going to conquer the what? The chaos. All right, so maybe you don't experience this. Maybe you have a friend who does. There are people who have disagreements with each other. I know this is a novel, crazy idea, but there are some people outside of these four walls that maybe get disappointed in someone else. And they have a disagreement with them. And that disagreement becomes a disruption. There's a break in the relationship. I know maybe you've read about this online before, but this happens to people, right? What's the point? Ask yourself, what is the point of disagreeing with someone else? I mean, we do it frequently in this life. You might have it happen once a month. I don't know. What is the point? Why do we disagree? What's the goal of an argument when we're arguing with someone? Is it to persuade the other person that you're right and they are what? What'd you just tell me, Kellen?
You're wrong.
I'm wrong. Say it to my face. Right? Is that the goal? If that is the goal, if that is your ultimate victory, to prove that you were right, and they were wrong, oh my. What about maybe a better approach? To turn an adversary into an ally. You disagree with someone, maybe it's someone you love dearly. Maybe it's someone you don't really care about. The defining characteristic of the Christian, the fringe of it, maybe not the core, is kindness. But kindness does not come to us. Have you noticed this? Kindness doesn't come naturally. Being kind to someone else isn't our default, and it's not easy to exercise. Why? Because kindness isn't natural. My thesis that I'm throwing out here, my big point is kindness is an act of the supernatural. It's divine intervention. You will never be kind on your own. You will always be drawn to the chaos, to the conflict, to defend yourself, to prove that you were right and prove they were wrong, because you are a weak and fallible and sinful person, just like me and just like everyone that's born. Our natural tendency is self-preservation. Kindness is not natural to us. That's why the road to kindness is not congested. There's not a lot of people that are trying to be kind, because it is a supernatural phenomenon. I totally believe that the quest to be kind, the quest to be companionship, to be compassionate, is more fruitful than the road to El Dorado, the search for the philosopher's stone, the hope for the fountain of youth. Whatever it is that the world tells you is so valuable and so important and so worthwhile, it all pales to being kind and compassionate, which is not natural for us. It's hard. It's difficult. For example, I'm going to share with you what I think is the hardest instructions that Jesus gives. I think this is the most difficult thing that Jesus has to say for us to follow. In fact, it's impossible for you to follow what he says on your own. You cannot execute what Jesus says without being divinely led. Luke chapter 6. I say to you who hear, which is a great phrase that rabbis like to use. If you have ears to hear, listen to me type thing. I'm going to say it. It's up to you whether you choose to meditate on it, Jesus is saying. I'm not going to force you against your will to accept it. But if you're willing to listen, I say to you who hear, love your enemies. Forget it, man. You lost me. You had me at love and you lost me at enemy, Jesus. How many people tonight are going to waste fortunes on FanDuel or whatever betting app that is out there? Dave Ramsey says this is ruining America, by the way. I don't know why my Facebook is filled with the Chicago Bears. I don't watch sports. Doggone it. I can't sit on the toilet and go through my phone without seeing Chicago Bears and the Rams. The last time they played, the Bears went to the Super Bowl, right? It's all over the place. People are all tore up about sports, right? Because they live vicariously through that competition. But you're a competitive person. And you have enemies, and you want nothing more than to see them squirm and beg and plead for your acceptance, forgiveness, whatever. Jesus says, love that. Now, the day you get that right, come and tell me about it. That is so counterintuitive. That is the complete opposite of what culture tells you to do. Culture says kick him in the teeth. Culture says you win it whatever the cost. The ends justify the means. Use as much leverage as you can. Make them suffer. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. I have a hard enough time being nice to the people that love me. And you want me to be good to someone that's a jerk? You want me to love someone who hates me? You want me to be nice to them? I'm not even willing to slow down at the stoplight to let someone in front of me. Right? Whatever you do, don't get your grocery cart or buggy in front of me at the grocery store. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. I don't even want to pray for people I love sometimes. Well, that's not true. I do. I don't have a real problem with that. But Jesus says the people who abuse you, who are mean to you, who belittle you, who hurt your feelings, who put you in last place, who do whatever they can to make your life miserable. Pray for that person. And we wonder why Jesus doesn't have like thousands of people with him to save him from the Romans at the end. Right? All the 12 scatter. Peter, James, and John kind of hang out. At the end, he's by himself. Not a very popular idea. Whoever strikes you on the cheek, offer him the other one. Whoever takes your cloak, don't withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who begs from you. From the one who takes away your goods, don't demand the beg. And verse 31, as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. Verse 32, what good is it if you love the people that love you? Even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what benefit is that? Even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to get back the same. But love your enemies, verse 35. Luke 6:35. Love your enemies, do good, lend, expect nothing in return, and your reward will be great. You'll be the sons of the Most High, for he is kind and ungrateful to the evil. Just like Matthew 5:45. God sends the rain on the just and the unjust. Anybody ever hurt your feelings? Anybody ever call you a bad name? Anybody take something that you thought was yours? Anybody ever cause you to lose sleep at night? Jesus doesn't say give them the people's elbow. He says give them a hug. Love them. Pray for them. Wish for them to be in a better place, to be happy, whatever. Be merciful, verse 36, even as your Father is merciful. Is that easy? No. Is that impossible? Pretty much. But we're going to be honest, not hypocritical. That's a struggle. That's difficult. That's nearly impossible. And there's no way. Oh, by the way, what's today? Hold on a second. Look at my watch here. Today is the 18th. Do you know what tomorrow is? You know what January 19th is? Quitter's Day. It's an internet holiday for everyone that does what? Gives up on their New Year's resolution. Did you know that? Tomorrow is Quitter's Day. Yeah. Carla's like, not me, baby. I'm sticking it out. Planet Fitness, I'm glad you're 24 hours because I'm going to be there.
I celebrated that a week ago.
Nancy, I didn't know you raised any quitters.
I didn't either.
You know, I've told you more than once you should have spanked him more when he was a child.
Well, they say he's the favorite, so I guess that's why.
I don't know. I seen Creston.
He's trying to edge on up there, isn't he?
Creston's working his way up there, right? Willpower won't help you to be kind. Brute force will not make it. We're talking about relationships here. So why don't we start with a really simple question? What is it that a healthy relationship needs? What is it that really is important? First of all, I think people deserve the truth from us. They deserve that we're honest when we exchange ideas and information. You know what's kind of funny? We make a distinction between hearing and listening. I hear what you're saying, but are you what? Are you listening to me? I know you hear my words, but are you listening to me? Quit trying to think of the answer in your head. Quit trying to think of your response. Just hear what I'm saying. Relationships, it's chaotic. There's problems. We're just really imbalanced and things are all over the place. Are you hearing me? People cannot listen to what you have to say until they feel they're being heard. The more you put someone's back up against the wall, and the more that you push, the more they're going to push back. They're going to push back harder. Until people feel like you're really listening. That's what relationships deserve. To be heard, not badgered, not beaten down, not berated. That's not how we like to argue, though. Be honest. We'd rather use a little leverage over leniency, wouldn't we? Because we want to get out. Because we're selfish. We're prideful. And that's not particularly new. I mean, think about the first family. Right? Cain and Abel, how well did they work out their differences? Let's think about that this week. You know, because you kind of think like, well, what's your family heritage, right? You know, and we're all sons of whoever. And I got to thinking about it this week, and I don't know why it never occurred to me before, but we're all sons of Cain, right? Because if Cain kills Abel, and Cain's the only one left, that means everyone on earth is offspring of Cain. I know, Betty, isn't that crazy? We're all related to the guy who beats his brother to death instead of working it out. Leverage or leniency. I've learned this much in life. We're talking about asking the question, what do relationships need? What do they deserve? Until you lower your guard yourself, you cannot expect people you are disagreeing with to be vulnerable and to hear what you have to say. I want my way. I'm going to fight hard. Jesus says, love the person that you are in a disagreement with. Your adversary, your enemy. Love that person. Be kind to that person. Pray for that person. What else do relationships deserve? Trust. Authentic relationships don't exist in a vacuum or in absence of trust. They deserve appreciation. I appreciate you. Thank you for what you bring to the table. Have you ever noticed how much we can't stand hypocrisy? Right? The ultimate expression of hypocrisy is claiming that you are infallible. That you are 100% right, that you know more, and that you never make a mistake. But we can't admit that, because that's a sign of weakness, and that's going to give them leverage over us. Until you're vulnerable, don't expect them to be open. Until you let your guard down, don't expect that other person to understand your perspective. Until you give other people permission to have their own opinion. Listen to me. Until you give other people permission to have their own opinion, Do not anticipate that they're going to be open to your opinion. Pray for those who abuse you. Love those who hate you. Love your enemies. The boiling pot, the centrifuge, the reactor point of forming enemies is the inability to disagree in a healthy way. We have to be vulnerable. We have to let our guard down so that they can lower their guard. Be open. How do you turn an adversary into an ally? Stop being an enemy yourself. I'll tell you, you can try the all or nothing. I'm in it, all chips are in, scorched earth, I will win this no matter what policy. But how, as Dr. Phil likes to say, how well is that working for you? It just doesn't. All or nothing equals nothing gained. To be demanding is a zero-sum game. Nobody will win. What helps people win? How do you get people to relax? How do you get people to lower their guard and to be open to what you think, which is different than what they think? Aretha Franklin sang it best. Right? R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Respect. That's where it starts. And that's what Jesus is saying between the lines, behind it. Be merciful. Verse 31. As you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. The ultimate expression of respect is that you treat that other person in the way that you want them to treat you. But again, I said this 30 minutes ago when I got started. You can't do it. Kindness is not natural. It requires divine intervention because it's a supernatural phenomenon. Don't tell me that it comes natural to you or that it's part of your daily practice to pray for the people that you can't forgive. I won't buy it. You wouldn't either. I told you this is the hardest thing I've heard Jesus say. His most difficult set of instructions. It'd be like Scott and Tallis sitting down and praying for. You're an Alabama fan? And you're a Kentucky fan? Is that right, Tallis? Yeah. UT. Feel like you guys sitting down for coffee tomorrow morning? Let me pray for your team. Okay, brother. Yeah. I've been praying for your team all week. I just didn't tell you. Is that why you guys are opposite sides of the room? Kumbaya. Right? Never going to happen. Just not going to happen. You're not going to pray for each other's sports to each other. Now I'm a failure. That concludes today's humble defeat and humiliation. Speaking of humiliation, we think humiliation is more powerful. To humiliate someone, to embarrass someone, to berate them, to shame them, to smack talk them, to force them against their will, to embarrass them. We're going to humiliate them, demoralize them, so that behind their back we can demonize them. Oh, if they don't regret that mistake, they will. Just wait till I'm done with them. Because we want them to feel ashamed. Why? Probably because we carry a lot of shame, remorse, regret. And instead of looking at that, it's a lot easier just to throw that junk and garbage on top of that. Isn't it? Am I alone in this? Am I the only one? Jesus says, be merciful, withhold judgment, and we stubbornly cling to the idea. You'll never say it out loud. You won't admit it to anyone that you know, but you think you're smarter than Jesus. My actions say, I think I'm smarter than Jesus. Love those. Be merciful. Be kind. And I'm like, I got a better plan here. I got a way better plan than showing them some love and respect. Our refusal to budge is rarely beneficial. Our stubborn pride is destroying us. Jesus has a better idea if we could listen. I like to make fun of sports. You guys know that. But the reality of it is, viewing our relationships through the lens of competition instead of how do we collaborate is hurting us. All jokes aside, we see so much in this world through the lens and the filter of competition, where if we could just collaborate, instead of seeing that other person as an obstacle, to see them as an opportunity. Good night. What could we accomplish if we would take that mutual fire within us and channel that in the same direction, what we could get done? To see mutuality as an opportunity. To stay insistently that I'm right and you're wrong, and to keep polishing my position and putting that forward and trying to constantly put that other person down, I guarantee you'll remain in a stalemate. Nothing will progress. Everything will fall apart. So what's the motivation? If you're looking for it, what's the motivation to help me in my immaturity, in my stubbornness, in my humanness, to even crack the door open a little bit, to listen to Jesus' instructions to be kind and merciful and loving. Judge not, verse 37, and you'll not be judged. Condemn not, you'll not be condemned. This sounded a little enticing because I got a lot in the closet there that, I'm not too proud of. I carry a little bit of guilt, a little bit of shame, so tell me a little bit more, Jesus. Forgive and you'll be forgiven. Give and will be given to you good measure, pressed down, shaken together. Gunner, you ever drop fries at Pal's? No? You ever go through Pal's and get their French fries before? You know what the difference is between Pal's French fries and McDonald's? You get that bag from Pal's and the fries are falling out of the bag. You go to Burger King and it's like, where's the French fries? Where's the French fries? You go to Wendy's, where's the French fries? Scott, you with me? I see you now. That bag, greasy as it is, unhealthy as it is, Uncle Craig is going to tell you guys right now, don't eat the fries. But if you do, ask for a pot with a little extra salt. Shake it over, it's overflowing into your lap. For with the measure you use, it'll be measured back to you. How you hold people accountable is how God's going to hold you accountable. That's scary. The more demanding you are, the more exacting you are, the higher your standards are, the more perfection you demand. Oh my gosh. You're going to stand, I'm going to stand, we're going to stand before God Almighty, and his first question out of the gate. Oh my gosh. How did you treat others? Oh man. It's not going to be, do you remember that time when you were 15, mom and dad were out of town, and you snuck the car? Never mind. How did you treat others? What did you ask out of them? How perfect did you demand that they were? And now we can sit down and talk. There you are in front of the creator of all heaven, earth, time, universe, eternity. If that doesn't take your breath away, you don't have a pulse. How did you treat the people that you were with? No way. I want to crawl under a rock. I want to hide. I want to shield myself from that type of examination because I have failed. Probably every step of the way. I certainly have not treated others the way I want to be treated. Show some leniency. God says, now we can talk. God's going to hold us. God's going to hold us. God is going to hold us to the standard that we hold others to, and that is terrifying if you stop and think about it. So let's try Jesus' way once, maybe. Maybe once this week. I don't know. Right? Victory is going to come through vulnerability. Look again at verse 31. Just like Matthew chapter 7, 13, 12 or 13. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Right? The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have do unto them, or however it goes. We don't even know. But how do I get there? So I've got a little bit of motivation. If I'm lenient, God promises to be lenient. There's a little bit of motivation. How do I get there? Because I'm broken. I'm stubborn. I'm fallen. Verse 39, he tells them a parable. Can a blind man lead a blind man? Will they not both fall into a pit? A disciple is not above his teacher. Listen, a disciple is not above his teacher. You're not superior to Jesus. Your way isn't smarter. He's the master. You're the student. But everyone, when he is fully trained, will be like his teacher. Katarizio. Say it with me. Katarizio. Say it. Katarizio. It's the Greek word for bind, unite, knit, fix. When the disciples are on the shore and they're waiting for Jesus' call, what were they doing to their nets? Do you remember? They were mending their nets. When someone broke their bone in ancient times, and the Greek doctors would set the bone. You're broken. I'm broken. But when God mends us, knits us, unites us, joins us, fixes us, we're going to be like Him. Knit together. How do I get there? Right? The motivation is, I'm going to be lenient. God's going to be more lenient. How do I get there? There's Katarizio. He's going to fix me and make me more like Him. And then verse 41. Why do you see the speck that's in your brother's eye, but don't notice the log in your own? Why are you a fault finder? Stop picking apart other people. You want to be fixed, you want to be lenient, you want to be gracious, you want to be merciful. You want to be open to the idea of loving the people that you hate. Quit being a fault finder. Stop. Why do you see the speck that's in your brother's eye, but you don't notice the log in your own? How can you say to your brother, let me take that speck that's in your eye out, when you yourself don't see the log in your own eye, you hypocrite? First take the log out of your own eye, then you'll see clearly to take the speck out that is in your brother's eye. So acknowledge your own shortcomings. You want to help people be more vulnerable and listen to what you have to say? Admit your shortcomings. You know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you are right. Let's sit down and talk about it. Let's slow down. Let's take it down a notch. I'm sorry for what I said. I should have been more interested in what you had to say. I want to come together on this. I think together we can do more than we can separately, and there's a huge ripple effect for all of the relationships around us. Let's see what we can do. Let your guard down. Stop nitpicking. Acknowledge you're mistaken. So I started off 45 minutes or an hour ago. We're all going to lose our place in lunch now, and I apologize for that. Consider connections, because I think connections conquer the chaos. I hope you'll remember that. When you're in the midst of the heat of it and it's bad and you just want to strangle the other person because they deserve it, just remember, connections conquer chaos. But kindness is a supernatural act that you'll never do it on your own. Which isn't to mean it can't be done. Just don't think you can do it by your own efforts, willpower, or abilities. Dwelling of the Spirit. Act of God. So the more we're led by the Spirit, and the less we're driven by competition, sports fans. The more we're led by the Spirit and less by competition, the healthier the relationships will be. You know what? Two things, and I'll be done. When we find ourselves being led by the Spirit and not being competitive, those healthier relationships, number one, are going to make you happier. Nothing wrong with being happy. You know the Beatitudes, blessed are the meek, blessed are the... That same word for blessed in the Greek is translated as happy in other places. So number one, healthier relationships make you happier. And number two, more importantly, the healthier the relationships, the happier you are. Guess what? The more God is honored. All right, let's stand and sing, shall we?